When the steel plate came crashing down, Jack shielded Nicole without hesitation. And left me, standing right beside them, to be struck hard. Jack scooped Nicole up and rushed toward the ambulance first. "Stacia, let her get on first." I nodded obediently and replied softly, "Okay." Seeing that I didn't argue or make a fuss, he looked surprised. "You usually cry to me over the smallest scratch," he said. "How come you're being so sensible today?" I gently clenched my right hand. The pain stabbing through it like it was being torn apart. And felt an unbearable emptiness settle in my chest. Still, I forced a faint smile. "Because I know Nicole is important to you." That wasn't the real reason. I had simply remembered something Jack once said, a long time ago: if someone truly wants to break up, they won't shout about it everywhere. So, just as he wished. This time, it was real. When the steel structure collapsed, Jack grabbed Nicole and ran without looking back. Stunned and slow to react, I followed my instincts and dodged as well. Even so, I was a split second too late. My right hand was crushed. It hurt. A pain so sharp it drilled straight through me. Not just physically, but emotionally. Not far away, Jack held Nicole in his arms, soothing her patiently. "Jack, I was so scared. I thought I was going to die," she sobbed. Like he was comforting a child, Jack patted her back gently. "Silly girl. Didn't I come for you immediately? Don't forget," he said softly, "I'm your knight." Nicole tilted her face up from his chest, pouting as she acted cute. "I guess I'll admit you still have a conscience." "Fine. I won't stay mad at you this time." Jack shot me a cold glance, then turned away. Facing her again, he smiled helplessly, indulgently. "Yes, my lady. Thank you for your mercy." Nicole was talking about the New Year's gala. The Academy had designated me to perform a piano solo on stage. Nicole was the backup. She had clung to Jack, persuading me to give up the spot. And let her take it instead. I refused. And so, we'd been locked in a silent standoff ever since. I sucked in a breath, forcing back the sting in my nose, pressing my blood-soaked right hand. For a moment, it felt like a tear fell into my palm. And then vanished. The ambulance arrived quickly. There was only one. A few classmates climbed aboard in a scattered line. The medics called out, asking if there was anyone else. Supporting my right hand, so deeply injured that bone was nearly visible. I staggered to my feet and walked toward them. I was just about to speak, when Jack cut in first. "There's still my friend," he said. "She almost fainted from fright just now." Jack carried Nicole to the medical staff. I froze as I stared at him. "Jack. I'm injured too." Maybe it was the blood loss, I felt weak, my lips pale. "Look. I'm bleeding. I feel dizzy." Jack glanced at me, frowned slightly, but said nothing. The medic cried out and rushed toward me. "You're bleeding badly. Hurry." She grabbed my arm, trying to pull me into the ambulance. Suddenly, Nicole stopped her. "But this ambulance was called by Jack," she said softly. "Sis. Stacia, could you let me go first? I think I might have a concussion." As she spoke, she tugged at Jack's sleeve and whispered coquettishly, "Jack, you know I don't want to see her right now. Could you?" Jack glanced at me. "Stacia, Nicole isn't in good health. Let her go first." But I also. Enduring the pain, I raised my injured hand high in front of him. Jack hesitated, frowning. And then, Nicole muttered, "It just looks scary." "Jack." She dragged out his name, soft and pleading. Jack's hesitation vanished instantly. He looked at me again. This time with clear annoyance in his eyes. "Stacia. You already have everything. Do you really have to compete with her over this too?" I froze. Every drop of blood in my body seemed to turn to ice. I couldn't feel the pain anymore. The world drained of color. All that remained was Jack's disgusted gaze. And his cold, cutting words. A chill seeped from every cell in my body. Even wrapped in a thick down jacket, I couldn't stop trembling. And in that moment, I finally understood. This wasn't a cold war between Jack and me. It was a delayed breakup. One neither of us had bothered to say out loud. Our relationship had ended the moment his heart wavered for Nicole. It was only official now. 2 seconds later, I came back to myself. I smoothed my expression, pressed my lips together, and smiled faintly at the two of them. "I see. Then you go ahead. I'll call another ambulance myself." I turned away at once, pulled out my phone, and called for another one. The doctor said I'd narrowly avoided severing a tendon. Fortunately, I'd gotten there in time. Before leaving, I asked how long recovery would take. "If it's quick, 1 month. If slow, up to 3, he said. "And don't let it get wet." I thanked him sincerely. Then I opened my messages and typed, "Teacher, about that International Conservatory Exchange program you mentioned before. Is the offer still available?" A month ago, the Academy had invited me to join an international music institute abroad. Back then, Jack and I were still in our silent standoff. I was afraid that if I left, it would mean a clean break between us. So I politely declined. He didn't know about it. I was afraid he'd think I was using it to pressure him. But now, there was nothing left to fear. Because to me, we were already broken up. My teacher replied quickly, "Of course you can. There's still 1 week before the deadline, and classes officially begin in 2 months. They've been hoping you'd come. What, have you made up your mind? And your boyfriend?" I typed back, "Thank you for your concern, Professor. We've broken up. Also, I'd like to register." She replied, "I told you before, someone meant for you will be waiting in your future. I'll send you the application form shortly." Tears welled up in my eyes. Forgetting that she couldn't see me, I nodded repeatedly at the screen. "Thank you, Professor." Perhaps I was grateful that she hadn't given up on me. I filled out the material she sent with great care. Especially the self-introduction section. I was so earnest that I nearly started from the day I was born. Completely unaware that someone was standing at the door. "Feeling any better?" I looked up. Jack's tall figure leaned casually against the doorway, his gaze lowered toward me. I put my phone away. "Why are you here?" Jack frowned slightly, unconsciously. "Who were you chatting with so happily?" Distracted, I replied, "No one. Just my teacher asking about something." I didn't want to tell him the truth. After all, we no longer owed each other transparency. Jack didn't notice my expression. He dragged over a small stool and sat beside me. Reaching out, he grabbed my right hand, wrapped thickly like a rice dumpling, and raised an eyebrow. "That serious?" I pulled my hand back. "Yeah. The doctor said it can't get wet." Seeing that I didn't make a fuss, he looked surprised. "You usually cry to me over the smallest scratch," he said. "How come you're being so sensible today?" He pinched my cheek lightly, smiling. "Stacia, I actually prefer you when you're not so sensible. That way, I feel like you care about me." "Is that so?" I wanted to be unreasonable too. But that role? It seemed Nicole had already taken it. Nicole was Jack's childhood sweetheart. And I was the girl he'd been betrothed to by word of mouth. It had started as nothing more than drunken jokes between elders at a dinner table. No one had taken it seriously. In 17 years, I had never even met Jack. Until high school. When I was bullied. The perpetrators were punished as they should have been, but I developed psychological issues and became too afraid to return to school. When the Botts family found out, they made a phone call. And just like that, I transferred to Jack's high school. The first time Jack saw me, he smiled. "Hello, classmate Hofer. Heard my grandpa found me a little wife." My expression froze. He hurriedly added, "Just kidding. I'm not a bad guy. If anyone bullies you from now on, tell me. I've got your back." Carrying my small backpack, I nodded obediently and thanked him softly. My classmates treated me kindly. The teachers were gentle too. I thought my life had finally escaped the nightmare. But Nicole, for reasons I never understood, began to hate me. Glass shards in my dance shoes. A dead frog stuffed into my desk. Superglue smeared on my chair. The nightmare returned. "Go on. You fake saint, go complain to Jack." Jack and I grew up together. Over a decade of history. You really think he'd choose you? If you want to blame someone, blame yourself for being greedy. For stealing what's mine. I was terrified. The second round of bullying dragged me even deeper into despair. So many factors silenced me. Until one afternoon, I finally broke down crying in a bathroom stall. Jack panicked, pacing outside, not knowing what was wrong. It wasn't until a kind classmate told him that Nicole had been bullying and threatening me. His face went cold instantly. Without a word, he dragged her over and made her apologize to me. He stood at my side. Not once favoring her for their decade-long bond. Instead, he looked at her coldly. "Nicole, no matter your reason," he said, "bullying a classmate is wrong. And especially when it's Stacia." Nicole screamed at me, "Why does she deserve it? She took everything from me. Dance competitions. Piano competitions. Hosting the New Year's gala. And even you." She bit her lip, a tear falling. "Jack, we've known each other for over 10 years. Am I really worth less than her? What right does she have?" She raised her hand toward me. Jack stepped in front of me, his voice turning colder still. "Nicole, you will not lay a hand on her." In the end, Nicole was expelled from school and sent abroad by her family. Both my parents and the Botts family were furious. To quell the matter, the Chen family forbade her from returning. After that incident, my attitude toward Jack softened. I thought it was the moment our relationship truly began to warm. I never imagined it would later become the rift between us. Not long after, Jack and I were admitted to the same university. In my sophomore year, Nicole, whom we hadn't seen in a long time, suddenly reappeared. I heard she couldn't stand staying overseas. And had worked desperately to retake exams. Combined with her seemingly sincere remorse, she earned the elders' approval. She was admitted here without much trouble. I also heard that she'd suffered greatly abroad. And had developed serious psychological issues. And so, this time, she became the one to be protected. When Jack talked about Nicole, his face was full of pain. I never thought she'd end up like this. Stacia, you didn't see it. It's heartbreaking. If only I hadn't been so harsh on her back then. I tried to comfort him. You couldn't have known what she'd go through. Jack, don't blame yourself so much. How can I not, he snapped. If it weren't for you. He stopped abruptly, sighed, then said, I didn't mean to blame you. But the look in his eyes told a different story. I felt at a loss. By then, I was already in love with Jack. So I swallowed my grievance, thinking that time would smooth everything out. I never expected that from then on, Nicole would stand squarely between us. At meals, Jack always made sure to serve her first. On dates, if she messaged him, he replied immediately. Even in the movie theater, he would get up at once and step outside to answer her call. From initial understanding, to later arguments. I fought with him. Threatened to break up. Demanded he cut Nicole off. But after it happened too many times, he grew immune. He let out a scoffing laugh. Nicole has already suffered so much. What's wrong with being a little more tolerant? Is she really that hard for you to accommodate? You said it yourself, people who truly want to break up don't shout about it everywhere. Stacia, think it through. Do you really want to break up? I was afraid. So I apologized obediently. And we made up. Back then, I still clung to the ways he'd been good to me. Buying me brown sugar water during my period. Bringing me breakfast in the mornings. Sometimes, he even washed my underwear for me. But later, those acts of kindness could no longer outweigh the problems Nicole brought with her. People often say that maintaining a relationship is like depositing money into a bank. The more you save, the less likely you are to fall apart during arguments. But Nicole's weight between us had already grown so heavy that I could barely breathe. She was like a debt collector who showed up unannounced, everywhere. Every appearance left me tense to the point of breaking. In truth, I should have known long ago. This relationship was already over. Back then, I couldn't bear to see it clearly. I didn't want to break up. But now, I wanted to break up, yet couldn't. After all, I still had to give both families an explanation first. My thoughts snapped back. I gently covered my right hand. The pain tearing through it like it was being ripped apart. And felt an utter desolation settle in my chest. Still, I curved my lips into a faint smile. Because I know Nicole is important to you. Perhaps my calmness, my obedience, my lack of fuss, felt abnormal to him. Jack paused, then explained, Stacia, no matter how important she is, she can't compare to you. Don't forget, you're my girlfriend. I didn't respond. I kept smiling. Didn't you say it yourself? I asked softly. People who truly want to break up don't shout about it everywhere. Jack, what if I want to break up with you? I said it with a smile in my eyes. But the smile never reached them. I genuinely wanted to know. If I really brought up breaking up, what would he do? I didn't expect it. Jack stood up and pulled me into his arms. Be good. Don't say things like that again. Aren't you tired of it? You know it, we're bound together for this lifetime. He held me tightly. I let him hold me, my thoughts drifting. Even though I had already decided to break up, I still felt a trace of regret at that moment. Setting Nicole aside, Jack had truly treated me well over the years. Otherwise, I wouldn't have tangled myself with him for this long. Suddenly, over his shoulder, I looked toward the glass window outside. On the lawn downstairs stood a white figure. In her hand was a red string. Tied to it was a small pig charm, pink and black. I had given it to Jack in the first year we started dating. He'd been so happy back then. He showed it off on every social platform, saying he'd never take it off. But now, it was being idly toyed with in Nicole's hands. I laughed. At my own naivety. So this was how short forever really was. The warmth in my gaze disappeared completely. I pushed him away. I'm a little tired. You should go back first. Jack looked down at his suddenly empty arms, a flicker of disappointment crossing his face. Then he sat himself down by my bed, clearly intending to stay. I'll keep you company here. Before the words had fully settled, his phone rang. Jack's expression stiffened for a split second. The words I was about to say swallowed themselves back. It seemed I wouldn't need to chase him away. The phone rang for a long time. Jack answered. The voice on the other end carried a trace of sobbing. His tone softened instantly. Is it serious? Don't worry. I'll come over right away. I watched coldly. Jack hung up, his eyes darting slightly. Stacia, something came up with Nicole. She can't handle it alone. I'll go take a look. I smiled politely. Go ahead. He stood and walked toward the door. Then, as if remembering something, he turned back. Baby, I'm sorry. I'll come back as soon as I take care of it. I kept smiling. Okay. When his figure disappeared past the doorway, I withdrew my gaze and immediately called my mother. 2 weeks later, I was finally discharged. Jack had said he'd come pick me up. But at the last minute, he said something had come up again with Nicole and he couldn't leave. I didn't even bother replying. Since I'd been hospitalized, he sent me messages constantly. But he never came to see me once. My phone was filled with his messages, white chat bubbles stacked densely. I didn't reply to a single one. The doctor repeatedly warned me, absolutely no contact with water. I nodded obediently, then carried a pile of oral and topical medicine back to campus. I first apologized to my teacher, telling her I wouldn't be able to perform at the New Year's gala. Then I apologized to my classmates who'd rehearsed for so long, hoping my injury wouldn't delay them. To my surprise, everyone was kind. The teacher said that as long as I was okay, that was what mattered, and she'd let the substitute go on stage. My classmates exaggeratedly declared that I'd forever be their piano fairy and welcomed me to guide them anytime. Their words made me laugh. I promised them that on performance day, I'd definitely be in the audience cheering them on. Stacia, you're really great. Unlike that new Nicole. Yeah, I wanted to say it too. Not trying to step on anyone, but she's really bad. And her temper's huge. Last time I just pointed out one wrong note and she rolled her eyes at me. As they were venting, the subject of the complaints walked in. The previously lively, warm atmosphere instantly sank into awkward silence. Everyone grew uncomfortable. Nicole didn't notice. She glanced at me and snorted lightly. Stacia, what are you doing here? There's no place for you anymore. I swept a cool glance at her and replied coldly, that doesn't seem to have anything to do with you. You. Seeing everyone gathered around me, all eyes turning toward her, her eyes reddened. You put them up to isolating me, didn't you? I frowned, speechless. The next second, Jack walked in as well. Nicole threw herself into his arms. Jack. He caught her, then turned and froze when he saw me. What's going on? Nicole leaned close to his ear and whispered something. A few minutes later, Jack looked at me deeply. Stacia, why are you targeting Nicole? Your hand wasn't injured because of her. I stared at him in disbelief. I'm targeting her. Then why is no one talking to her? Realizing what he meant, anger surged through me. I was just about to stand. When the other classmates spoke up. Which eye did you use to see our Stacia targeting her? She's been sitting here for less than half an hour. We just don't like people who don't put in effort and still act like entitled princesses. What does that have to do with Stacia? Jack, I used to think you were perfect. Turns out you're not. Your brain's got issues. Exactly. You don't stand up for your own girlfriend, yet you protect someone else. Voices overlapped, one after another. Jack's face shifted between green and white. And we just stood there, watching from a distance. Nicole lay in his arms, looking fragile and pitiful. Forget it, Jack. Let's go, she said softly. Jack nodded. Before leaving, he looked at me. Stacia. You've really disappointed me. I let out a cold laugh. Is that so? But I had already been disappointed in you for a long time. 2 more weeks passed. It was New Year's Day. That morning, my teacher notified me that my application had been approved. I was just about to ask her to keep it confidential. I didn't want to make a big deal out of it before I left. But the notice was posted on the bulletin board anyway. And just like that, everyone knew I was going abroad to study. They all came to congratulate me. I could only force a polite smile. Sure enough, Jack found out too. Before the performance began, he found me and dragged me out of the venue, demanding answers. Stacia, you're going abroad and you didn't even tell me. I frowned and pulled my hand free. Well, you know now, don't you? We're a couple. We're going to get married in the future. And what are you sulking about? Why haven't you replied to me these past few days? I remembered that I still hadn't heard back from home. Suppressing my temper, I replied carefully, I'm not sulking. I just think this relationship isn't worth any more explanations. Are you bringing up breaking up again? Aren't you tired of this? I turned my head away and didn't answer. Stacia. A hint of red crept into his eyes as he snapped, we agreed, no long-distance relationships. And now it's not even long-distance. It's overseas. You. Jack. Nicole stood not far away, looking at him with a wronged expression. My mic is missing. They won't help me. Can you help me find it? Jack glanced at Nicole, and his gaze softened instantly. Okay. Wait here. Stacia, don't leave yet. We're not done talking. With that, he ran back into the venue. Nicole, however, walked toward me step by step, a cold smile curling at her lips. Stacia, you're quite impressive. Losing a sesame seed and gaining a whole watermelon. I didn't respond. After all, I was only here to cheer them on. So I clenched my still unhealed right hand and walked past her. Nicole wasn't satisfied. She grabbed my arm, a hint of madness in her eyes. So what if you won? You'll never get rid of me between you and Jack. Stacia, I'll hate you forever. Impatient, I shook her off. Suit yourself. Do whatever you want. Just stop bothering me. Back in the venue, the performance was about to begin. The members all shouted for me not to leave afterward. There was a celebration party, and I had to attend. I nodded in agreement and even wished them a successful performance in advance. But, whether intentionally or not, Nicole played several wrong notes. Toward the end, she completely lost the rhythm. The members almost fell apart on stage. Luckily, they managed to hold it together through sheer coordination. After the final bow, no one spoke to her. Nicole's eyes reddened. She stood alone in a corner, quietly crying. Jack walked over to her. I let out a soft laugh, then followed my classmates to the celebration. In the private room, everyone reviewed the mistakes on stage, one after another, their complaints about Nicole piling up. Eventually, they collectively frowned, deciding not to mention her during a moment meant for celebration. With unspoken agreement, they began praising one another instead. A round of exaggerated compliments. Toward the end, someone asked me, Stacia, when are you leaving? At that exact moment, Nicole pushed the door open. Everyone froze. Someone couldn't help muttering, damn. Nicole's eyes were red, her nose flushed. She lowered her head and apologized. I'm sorry, everyone. I didn't prepare well enough. The next second, Jack arrived too. His tall figure loomed over her. He had always been proud and unyielding, but now he lowered his head. Standing beside her, he said, sorry for the trouble. Everyone exchanged looks. I stayed silent as well. What kind of performance was this supposed to be? One of the kindergirls in the group glanced at me, then spoke up. Forget it. It's over now. For Stacia's sake, we won't make a big deal out of it. You're already here. Just find a seat and sit down. The others nodded in agreement. To the outside world, Jack was still my boyfriend. And Nicole was Jack's publicly acknowledged childhood sweetheart. So in a roundabout way, Nicole had taken advantage of my position. I felt helpless and anxious. My mother still hadn't replied. I needed to break up as soon as possible. Nicole had nothing to do with me. Why should she be forgiven so easily because of me? But the person involved didn't think that way. When our eyes met, she looked at me deeply. There was no gratitude in her gaze. She simply sat aside, numb. The earlier question was brought up again. Touching my right hand, I explained patiently, about 10 days more. Classes start next month. I was supposed to leave earlier, but my hand isn't quite healed yet. Right. You said it yourself, you can't let it get wet. My classmates chimed in one after another. Who the hell gave Stacia alcohol? Her hand isn't healed yet. Are you idiots? Give her a soft drink. The focus shifted back to me. Amid the noise and laughter, no one noticed that in the corner, Nicole had asked a server for a pot of boiling water. The accident happened as the gathering was ending. I stood up to leave. Several classmates volunteered to walk me back. Everyone was busy packing their bags, talking over one another. A little chaotic. Nicole walked past me, carrying the kettle. She pretended to trip. The boiling water poured straight onto my nearly healed right hand. I hadn't even processed what happened yet. When Nicole screamed first. Oh my God, what do we do? The scalding water seeped through the breathable white gauze into my palm. A piercing pain shot through me, making me frown. Jack. I've messed up again. What should I do? As she spoke, she viciously pressed her fingertip into my wound. A flash of malice crossed her eyes. Instinctively, I shoved her away. Nicole immediately reverted to her fragile act, collapsing to the ground in tears. Sis. Stacia. Jack froze for a second, then walked straight toward me. Stacia. Nicole stopped him. Jack, I'm in pain. Jack halted and pulled her up. Nicole took the chance to bury herself in his arms, crying softly. The already chaotic scene exploded into complete disorder. Several people pointed at Nicole and cursed out loud. Jack tried to pull her away, but when he saw how viciously she was being scolded, he could only shield her behind him. Enough. Let's go to the hospital first. At that moment, a boy stood up from the corner. Daniel. The star of the physics department. Nearly 6'3", with sharp, striking features and a clean buzz cut. Under the dim lighting, he looked tall and composed, almost sculpted. Truth be told, things between us were a little awkward. During freshman military training, he and I had both been frequent topics on the campus confession wall. But we'd never actually interacted. Later, one day, An instructor asked our class to prepare a performance. I danced in front of everyone. Daniel's class happened to be right next to ours. And so, he watched me without blinking. That moment was deliberately captured by someone and posted on the campus confession wall. The photo had a strong sense of atmosphere. With filters added, it looked exactly like a youthful campus drama. A male and female lead straight out of an idol romance. And just like that, the wind shifted. People began shipping me and him as a couple. Daniel publicly called for everyone to respect the girl involved. Which only made the shipping even crazier. As things escalated, Jack stepped in. He lost his temper, lashed out, and scolded everyone harshly. In the end, he even tagged Daniel, "Stacia is my girlfriend. Don't fucking try to get involved." I was mortified. I added Daniel on QQ privately and apologized. He accepted it graciously. I thought that would be the end of it. But I didn't expect that on the final day of military training, during the school-wide assembly. I arrived late because of something else. While heading toward my class, I was accidentally tripped by someone. Just as I was about to fall, Daniel reached out and caught me. That single moment ignited the entire school. The confession wall incident had already driven people wild. Now, they surrounded us outright. Daniel was supposed to go on stage that day as the freshman representative. Because of the chaos, he was forced to stay where he was. In the end, Jack pushed through the crowd and yanked me to his side, his expression terrifyingly cold. "Look carefully. This is my girlfriend." Daniel didn't get angry. He lifted his thin eyelids, apologized briefly, and went on stage. From beginning to end, he never defended himself. After that, we never met again. We didn't even speak on QQ. My impression of him stayed frozen at that moment. So why was he here now? My vision began to blur. I didn't have time to think. I passed out. Before losing consciousness, I faintly heard a voice by my ear, "Stacia, don't be afraid." When I woke up, my mother was sitting beside me. She looked like she'd rushed over in a hurry, her hair and clothes slightly disheveled. "Mom? Why are you here?" I asked in surprise. She sat beside me, eyes red. "Your classmate said your hand was crushed, and then you were burned by boiling water. My good girl, why didn't you tell Mom last time?" I struggled to sit up, smiling weakly to comfort her. The doctor said it was a first-degree burn. Fortunately, I'd been sent to the hospital in time, and the dermis wasn't damaged. But this time, the healing period would be extended again. Every time I looked at my hand, I thought of Nicole. And Jack. "Mom," I said suddenly, "I want to break up with Jack." "Is that difficult?" "It's not exactly difficult," she replied after a pause. "Our family has never depended on the Botts family." She sighed. "But back then, you transferred schools because of them. Your father and I didn't know how to bring it up. But it's fine. I've thought it through. At worst, we'll send some gifts and apologize properly." "Mom," I said quietly, "I don't like Jack anymore." "Then we'll break up," she said decisively. "Don't worry. Do whatever you want to do." "Thank you, Mom." I was deeply moved. The gloom that had hung over me for days finally lifted. I almost wanted to contact Jack immediately and end things clearly. Then, I suddenly remembered something important. "Mom, which classmate told you?" "It was me." Daniel stood at the doorway, holding lunch and a bag of fruit. "It was urgent," he said calmly. "And Auntie happened to call." I froze. I thanked him. My mother leaned close to my ear and whispered, "What do you think of this boy?" My eyes widened. "Mom, I just broke up." She pressed her lips together and smiled. "I think he's far more reliable than Jack. He said he didn't know you well, but he stayed by your side the entire night. He was afraid that when you woke up and saw only one guy there, it might cause misunderstandings. So he specifically called another girl to come as well. Only after I arrived did that girl leave." After saying that, she stood up and took the fruit out to wash. When she came back, she gave a few instructions, said goodbye to us, and left. Only Daniel and I remained. The air instantly stiffened. Thinking back to freshman year, I felt dazed. I didn't know how to start a conversation. When Daniel handed me his phone, "It's for you." I took it instinctively. It was Jack. Just moments ago, I'd wanted nothing more than to confront him. But now, seeing his name only irritated me. I flipped the phone face down. "You're not answering?" Daniel asked. I hummed softly in response. The pressure in my chest finally eased, and suddenly I felt the urge to talk. "I broke up with him," I said. "There's no need to stay in contact." I wasn't sure if it was my imagination, but Daniel seemed a little happy. He sat beside me, peeling an apple. I'd heard he was usually aloof and quiet. I twisted my fingers, trying to find a topic. "Well, thank you," I said. "And also, back in freshman year, I never got the chance to properly apologize." I don't know who started the rumor that we were a good match. It got you scolded by Jack. But you never held it against me. I'm really grateful. Daniel curved his lips slightly, smiling faintly. His sharp, clean-cut features softened in an instant. His pink, moist lips parted gently. It wasn't a rumor. I blinked, confused. What? It wasn't a rumor. Huh? It was true. I froze on the bed. The atmosphere became even more awkward. Is that so? Haha, you're good at joking. I said stiffly, not knowing how to continue. Stacia, he said softly. Don't apologize. I deserve to be scolded. My brain shut down instantly. CPU overheated. Completely fried. Back then, I had a private account. Just a few simple words. Yet they connected the entire story. So, what he meant was, he'd been part of the confession wall posts too? I stared at him blankly. He turned his gaze toward me. His long, jade-like fingers were damp with clear water. There was something subtly intimate about it. Embarrassed, I turned my head away. But an apple appeared in front of me. So, he said calmly, would you consider me? It was too sudden. Like casually walking past a delicious barbecue stall. Only for the stall to chase after you. And insist on feeding you directly. The problem was, I'd just broken up. I hadn't thought about dating at all. I took a deep breath and carefully chose my words. Daniel, I just broke up. You know that. I don't have. I can wait. I opened my mouth. The rest of my words stayed there. Stacia, he continued, it's me who likes you. Being rejected is only natural. Waiting is only natural too. So direct. So bold. So awkward. Wasn't he supposed to be aloof and quiet? In a panic, I grabbed the nearest thing to cover my embarrassment. And picked up the bra my mom had taken off for me. My face instantly turned the color of liver. I flung it to the floor in sheer mortification. Daniel bent down calmly and picked it up. Here. What kind of sane person gets confessed to while holding their bra? Someone please take me away, right now. Just then. What are you doing? Jack stood at the doorway, face dark. A phone was still pressed to his ear. Stacia, you didn't answer my calls. So you're dating him now, is that it? He stormed over, furious. Daniel, have you no shame? She's my girlfriend. Why are you holding her bra? Jack snatched it away, glaring at him. Who the hell gave you permission to touch her things? No, Daniel said calmly. Jack frowned. What? Daniel slipped his hands into his pockets. His gaze was steady, his voice low and composed. She's not your girlfriend. Jack froze for a moment. Then lunged forward. You fucking? Enough. I finally spoke. Jack stopped mid-motion. I'm sorry, Stacia, he said quickly. Let's take this outside. He reached out to grab Daniel by the collar. I said coldly, Jack. Let's break up. Jack paused, then forced a smile. Stacia, stop messing around. I'm not messing around, I replied. Let's break up. He froze. Are you serious? Yes. He forced a smile. It's fine. You'll cool down in a couple of days. It won't be fine in a couple of days either, I said calmly. For me, we broke up a long time ago. I took my phone and, right in front of him, deleted every single way to contact him. Jack's face turned deathly pale. No matter how many times we'd argued about breaking up before, I had never deleted him. This time, I said quietly, it's really over. Jack's lips trembled. In the end, he left, lost and hollow. I didn't have the energy to dwell on it. Because the very next second, my phone received concern from across the ocean. The professor there allowed me to report 2 weeks late. To heal properly before arriving. I smiled. Finally, some good news. Daniel, who had been silently watching everything unfold, raised an eyebrow. You seem pretty happy for someone who just broke up. After thinking about it, Daniel could be considered a friend now. So I told him the truth. Yes. My hand was burned, remember? I explained the situation to the professors there. They agreed to let me go 2 weeks later. Daniel nodded thoughtfully. Oh. The professors are pretty nice, he said. They really are. As for the school? Even though I strongly demanded that Nicole be severely punished, she insisted it was an accident. So aside from covering my medical expenses and apologizing, she only received a major demerit and probation. This time, I learned my lesson. I told no one except my close friends. A week later, I returned to campus. The performance group members came to my dorm, practically begging for forgiveness. They said they felt terrible about the accident that day. And hoped I'd give them a chance to make it up to me before I left. I wanted to refuse, but after some thought, I figured it would be nice to hang out together before leaving. We could invite friends too. So I agreed. That day, I invited a lot of people. Daniel was there as well. Everyone had a great time. They took photos, posted on social media, saying they'd miss me once I left. I didn't expect Jack to see it. Downstairs at the dorm, he stopped me. Stacia. I was wrong before. Give me one more chance. Don't go abroad, okay? I replied coldly, that's impossible. Jack forced a smile, but his eyes reddened instantly. Then what do all these years between us count for? Can you really bear to throw it all away? Count it as time spent. As experience. As me being unlucky, I said flatly. Satisfied? I grew impatient and walked past him. Jack's tall figure paused. Then he shouted after me, Stacia, I'll go to the airport this Sunday and wait for you. Do whatever you want, I replied without turning back. The originally scheduled departure date was postponed by 2 weeks. I told only Daniel and a very small number of friends. So naturally, Jack showed up at the airport for nothing. That day, after dinner with Daniel, I was heading back to the dorm. Downstairs, we ran into Jack again. He was extremely agitated. He rushed over and hugged me tightly. Stacia. I knew you couldn't let go of me, right? Thank you for not leaving. Do you know how terrified I've been these days, thinking you'd leave? At the airport that day, my mind went completely blank. Before he could finish his long speech, Daniel walked over and yanked me behind him, his voice cold. TSK. You've crossed the line. Jack froze. The next second, he clenched his jaw. Daniel, was it you who seduced her? You shameless, despicable bastard. You actually tried to steal my girlfriend. I frowned. Jack, that's too far. Our breakup has nothing to do with Daniel. Stop biting people like a mad dog. Jack's eyes turned bloodshot. He roared like he'd lost his mind. How does it have nothing to do with him? We were fine just days ago. The moment he showed up, you broke up with me. I'm going to beat him to death. He raised his fist again. It's because I don't like you anymore. Jack's raised fist froze in midair. After a long pause, he stared at me in disbelief. No. You can't not like me. Stacia, is this because of Nicole? I told you. I only see her as a little sister. She had it so rough abroad, that's why I treated her well. If you don't like it? I looked at him calmly and repeated myself. Jack. It's because I don't like you anymore. Back in high school, he protected me like a hero. From that moment on, his place in my heart grew impossibly tall. My love spread like wild vines, filling every corner of my heart. Before Nicole appeared, I truly wanted to spend my whole life with him. But after Nicole came back, everything changed. Our relationship became like a train missing its bolts. Carriage by carriage, it derailed. I tried desperately to hold it together, to keep it from leaving the tracks. But I failed every time. In the end, I finally understood. From start to finish, I was the only one trying. Where is the red string I begged for? When the steel plate collapsed, where were you? When Nicole made things difficult for me, where were you? And after Nicole returned, standing squarely between us? Time and time again, conflict after conflict. Where were you then? Jack, I gave you chances. You chose not to take them. Do you remember now? I looked straight into his eyes. The color drained from his face, inch by inch. Stacia, it wasn't like that. Go back, I said softly. Don't come looking for me again. I pulled Daniel with me and turned away. I sighed inwardly. So awkward. Every time Jack caused a scene, Daniel happened to be there. We walked along the campus path. I'm sorry, I said quietly. I keep dragging you into my mess. It's fine, he replied calmly. He's the one at fault. After just a few steps, a group of boys in sports jerseys walked toward us. One of them was holding a basketball. Oh? God, Daniel, why are you still here? Isn't today the day you leave for Country M? Yeah, aren't you going? They greeted him cheerfully. I smiled at them politely. Hi. The boys' eyes lit up when they saw me. They nodded back, friendly and courteous. Then one of them elbowed Daniel. Isn't she the one on your computer screen? Daniel reacted instantly and covered his mouth. Oh. It got postponed, he said smoothly. My dog, Big Yellow, is about to give birth. I need to stay and watch. Isn't your Big Yellow a male dog? Someone asked. Problem? Daniel replied calmly. The boys burst out laughing. Do you know how badly we lost today? Oh? How badly? Daniel lifted his thin eyelids and answered seriously. The boys immediately lost their momentum. After exchanging a few words, they left, saying they'd make him pay tonight. I was barely holding in my laughter. I hadn't expected. He could infuriate people so calmly. After walking for a while, we were almost at the dorm building. I stopped Daniel. Daniel. Thank you. To be honest, I wasn't unaware of his feelings. Thinking back now, he'd probably liked me since freshman year. The physics department didn't need to perform at all, yet he came anyway. And he stayed by my side the entire night. I wasn't slow to understand. I simply didn't know how to respond. But I don't have the headspace for a relationship right now, I said softly. I'm really sorry. Daniel looked at me, and suddenly smiled. Stacia, I already told you. You don't need to apologize. If every expectation had to be answered, he continued, then you and Jack wouldn't have broken up. So I'm actually glad you rejected me. His words struck straight at my heart. Over the years, there hadn't been a shortage of boys who liked me. After being rejected, some went from passionate to obsessive, refusing to let go. Even Jack had been unable to respect my choice. Only Daniel had. I stared at him for a moment, then nodded slowly. After that, my relationship with Daniel grew closer. I realized that although he didn't talk much, he wasn't cold at all. In fact, he was even a little humorous. Stacia, the calico cat on campus seems to be in a cold war with her friend. They haven't been eating together lately. Daniel, last night the calico told me it's because her friend's cat ate alone behind her back. Stacia? Daniel, secretly drinking the northwest wind. Cold. Ridiculous. And somehow very funny. Stacia, I wonder if it's cold over in Country Y. I heard it rains a lot. Daniel, I've been there. It's pretty nice. Stacia, really? How nice. Surprise.jpg Daniel, I came back in one piece. There were warm moments too. Like when I missed my friends. After gatherings, I'd return feeling oddly empty. Stacia, feeling sad. Once I go to Country Y, it won't be easy to get together like this anymore. Daniel, no worries. It's just a plane ticket. I'll sponsor it. Big Brother's Rich.jpg. I didn't know whether to laugh or cry. In the final 2 weeks, because of Daniel, the days didn't feel quite so heavy anymore. And then, Jack suddenly changed. It was as if he'd made up his mind to win me back, as though he'd finally figured out where our problems lay. He appeared around me every day. Repenting. Begging. Pleading. I was exhausted. But I didn't want to damage the relationship between the Hofer and Botts families, so I could only grit my teeth and ignore him. My once orderly routine, classroom, dorm, cafeteria, was disrupted. I started eating at irregular hours. Either very early, or right on the dot. One day, during a break in a public lecture, I was sprawled on my desk catching up on sleep. Daniel sat beside me. For the past few days, he'd been sitting next to me constantly. The room, once noisy, suddenly fell silent. I opened my eyes, tired. Nicole was standing in front of me. Her eyes were red again. Sis Stacia, she said softly, this Saturday is Brother Jack's birthday. Could you come to his birthday party? Brother Jack said that if you don't come, he won't forgive me. We haven't spoken in so long. Could you go? Please. I looked at her coldly. As she spoke, tears kept falling. Her pitiful appearance stirred sympathy among the boys around us. They joined in, urging me to agree. This Saturday just happened to be the day Daniel and I were leaving the country together. I was going to Country Y. He was going to Country M. But even if I weren't leaving, I still wouldn't go. I'm sorry. I can't. Please, Sis Stacia, she begged, and actually started to kneel. With the atmosphere pushed this far, some people's gazes toward me began to change. Seeing this, Daniel let out a light laugh. You're Nicole, right? From the performance department? Nicole froze for a second. What? I'm saying you're quite good at moral coercion. If every apology had to be forgiven, then there wouldn't be prisons or disputes in this world. This look you have, desperately needing forgiveness, how is it any different from begging? I couldn't help but laugh. Daniel really was Daniel. In the end, Nicole left with a dark expression. The night before departure, I checked my luggage again. I said goodbye to my parents and friends, and specifically told them not to come see me off. Otherwise, I knew I'd cry on the spot. After everything was done, I lay on my bed. Daniel messaged me. Daniel, nervous? Me, Daniel, don't worry. Even though I'll be in Country M, Big Brother's got your back. Stacia, thank you, young master. Daniel, you're welcome. Katsundra.jpg. Just as I was about to sleep, my roommate told me there was a guy downstairs looking for me. My brow tightened. I looked down, it was Jack. I didn't want to see him. My roommate sighed. Stacia, just go see him once. You have no idea how much he's been bothering us these days. So that's how it was. Jack had been trying to ambush me for days. When he couldn't catch me, he cornered my roommates instead. Feeling guilty, I thanked her, apologized again, and went downstairs. It had only been a few days, but Jack looked much more haggard. When he saw me, he forced a smile. Stacia, you came. I got the red string back. Look. I frowned and didn't respond. Getting straight to the point, I said, I heard you've been looking for my roommates a lot lately. Jack hesitated, then nodded. I just haven't been able to see you. I said seriously, Jack. I was very clear last time. Don't come looking for me again. And don't look for my roommates either. They don't know anything. Don't make things difficult for them. But I can't let go. Jack's eyes reddened. A man nearly 6'3" stood in front of me and suddenly began to cry. Stacia, I never imagined things would turn out like this between us. Please, please give me one more chance. This time, I'll cherish you properly. If you don't like Nicole, I won't see her anymore. Just this once. Okay? I looked at the man who had once made my heart race. And took a step back. No. You're not unable to live without me. You just don't want to lose the version of me who used to revolve around you. At the end of the day, you still love yourself most. Jack, wake up. We really can't go back. Jack's lips trembled, as if frozen by a cold wind. I didn't wait for a reply and turned to walk back inside. Suddenly, he shouted after me. Tomorrow is my birthday. Stacia, I hope you'll come. I didn't respond. I wouldn't go. Tomorrow, I was heading toward my future. And that mattered far more than his birthday. The next day, Daniel and I were at the airport. Our departure times were close. But mine was earlier, his later. In truth, he could have flown to Country M at any time. But for me, he had stayed behind for 2 full weeks. I was deeply moved. So after waving goodbye at the gate, I suddenly turned back. Daniel. He turned. I smiled at him gently. It's nothing. I just wanted to tell you, if the timing works out. In the future, I'd like to go home with you. He understood at once, curved his lips, and smiled. All right. I'll wait. A few hours later, the plane landed. I received a call from home. My mom said Jack had been searching for me like a madman. He'd even called my parents' phone. His family said Jack had been asking classmates everywhere where I was. Most classmates didn't know my departure had been postponed. My close friends wouldn't betray me. So Jack assumed I was hiding somewhere just to avoid him. I smiled, feeling absolutely nothing. In the past, on Jack's birthdays, I was always the one who put in more effort than he did. Every year, I prepared surprises for him. When he was happy, I was happy. When he wasn't, neither was I. For a long time, he had been the compass of my life. But now, having let go of that obsession. Across the ocean, looking at unfamiliar yet warm faces, school buildings steeped in academic atmosphere, and professors who were both rigorous and lively. I suddenly felt grateful that I'd broken up with Jack. Otherwise, how could I have flown this far? Because I'd missed 2 weeks of classes, life at the new school was busy and fulfilling. Beyond attending lectures, I had to meet with professors and classmates to make up for what I'd missed. Here, I encountered even more gifted musical talents. The longer I stayed, the more I realized how small I was. Pushing myself every day just to catch up. Naturally, I had little time to pay attention to things back home. Only occasionally would I message my family or friends to check in. Daniel would sometimes fly over to visit me. We'd eat, shop, and wander around like friends. I had to admit, having a companion in a foreign country felt completely different. Time passed quickly. Summer was approaching. Daniel and I planned to book tickets and return home together. Perhaps the rising temperatures made people restless. One day, chaos erupted on campus. A mentally unstable person with a gun took an entire music classroom hostage. By sheer coincidence, Daniel and I were both inside. We heard the man had been expelled for violating school rules. He'd bottled everything up until it broke him. In the classroom, he kept muttering over and over that the professor shouldn't have expelled him. No one dared speak. Daniel crouched beside me. Even though neither of us said a word, I could feel him protecting me the entire time. Negotiators came in wave after wave. Finally, 2 days later, the attacker was subdued. Just as we thought we were free, the ceiling above suddenly collapsed. It turned out explosives had been planted as well. I thought I was going to die. At the critical moment, Daniel grabbed my hand, shielded me beneath him, and took the full weight himself. I cried out instinctively, Daniel. My mind flooded with chaotic thoughts. And in that instant, I remembered something from long ago. A boy who had abandoned me. When a steel plate came crashing down. In that moment, I had fallen into an abyss. Drowning, barely clinging to life. No matter how kind the people around me were afterward, I couldn't climb back out. Until now. At this moment, that boy's face was replaced by Daniel's. Like a knight descending from the sky, he didn't just save my body. He saved the soul I had been drowning for so long. Before I could wipe away my tears, I squeezed his hand back. Daniel. Thank you. Fortunately, we were rushed to the hospital in time. Daniel wasn't seriously injured. After he was discharged, we officially became a couple. Daniel, however, was still a little uneasy. He kept asking me, Stacia, you really like me, right? Honestly, if it had been someone else, I would have done the same. You didn't fall for me just because I saved you, right? Every time, I didn't know whether to laugh or cry. I could only reassure him again and again, yes, yes, yes. It's you. Because you're handsome. Because you're cute. After returning home, we walked hand in hand across campus. And heard plenty of gossip. For example, Jack had been drugged by Nicole. The two were forced together. But Jack couldn't accept my leaving. And was deeply dissatisfied with Nicole. His mental state deteriorated. As for Nicole, even after getting pregnant, she couldn't hold on to Jack. She wandered everywhere, belly swollen, searching for him. Eventually, she missed a step on the stairs, fell, and miscarried. Her mental state collapsed as well. When friends talked about it, they sighed. Those two are really locked together now. I shook my head and smiled faintly. It felt like listening to someone else's story. Daniel was more straightforward. Oh, that's good. At least they've got each other. Right, wifey? He looked at me. I nodded. His eyes lit up instantly. Since you admitted it, let's go register, then? I've calculated it, tomorrow's an auspicious day. Me? Daniel, can you be any more shameless? I once mistook endurance for love. Now I know, love is choosing myself without fear. I didn't lose anything when I let go. I gained a wider world, a steadier heart, and a future I'm finally walking toward. Hand in hand, unafraid.